For this project, we interviewed the owners of Maggie's Diner, which is a small family-owned diner outside the town of McGregor, Iowa. We first asked them what led them to starting this business. They said how they saw an opportunity to make some money by selling food to all of the truckers that would constantly drive in and out of town. This turned out to be a pretty successful side business for them, so they went out and set up a small shop on the side of the road where they have been in business ever since. What were some initial obstacles you encountered and had to overcome? They explained how one of their problems was having truckers stop by at all hours of the day, 24/7. So, in order to serve all these people, they would have to work around the clock tirelessly most days to satisfy their customers. Were there times you feared the business would fail, and how were you able to turn it around? They explained how sometimes business would be slow and not enough people would be passing by to stop at the diner. So in order to draw more attention, they would have big signs outside on the road with their lunch menus and special events listed on them to try to attract more customers that were driving by. What were some improvements you made throughout the years? They said how early on, after about only doing a year of business out of their small shack, they purchased a large trailer building in order to expand their kitchen and interior for customers to sit and relax while they enjoy their meals. For the last question, we asked them what their plans for the future were, and they responded by saying that as of right now, they are just working on maintaining their little business and hope that they'll be able to keep on serving more people and hopefully expand the business even more someday.
There was an elevator built in McGregor in 1960 by Agra Industries, and they started getting more and more trucks coming in, and they couldn't handle them all fast enough, and the trucks would come down at night and park on the street in McGregor. The residents of McGregor were getting very unhappy with that situation, so the mayor of McGregor came and approached us about possibly putting a staging area up here on the hill next to our farm. And at peak level, when we were getting both corn and soybeans, we would probably get the busy time 300 trucks a day. And I would start out at 5:30 in the morning, and they would set the hours, and I usually stayed here as long as there were trucks coming in. And sometimes it was 6 at night, sometimes later. Our longest day probably was Good Friday in like 1996. All the other terminals were closed, and it was their largest day that they've ever had for trucks. The last trucks got unloaded in McGregor at 11 o'clock that night, and they were lined up 3 miles back on the highway besides what we had in the lot. And the diner was started in 1979 by actually the gal that was a dispatcher. She had my children bring the truckers' sandwiches out in a little wagon and set them out there with a coffee can. They put the money in the coffee can. She would call me when it was gone, and I'd make some more up at the house and take some more out. So we bought a little 15-foot camper, and a friend and I served out of that little camper for a year. The next year we bought a large 50-foot mobile home and gutted it and served out of that. We used that for a number of years, but then we built the diner that sits here today. I was always called Margaret until I started Maggie's Diner, and we thought, oh, Margaret's Diner will not look very good on a sign or the name, so I've been called Maggie now most of the time. After a number of years, I was kind of getting burned out. We decided to sell.
I've known Margaret probably 30 years, so I've known her a long time.
My name is Heidi Dickman. My husband and I are the owners of Maggie's Diner. My brother-in-law told us that his mother was wanting to get out of the business. My husband, Mike, had previous hotel restaurant management experience. He went to college for hotel restaurant management.
I've been in the hotel restaurant industry since I was 13 years old, so.
That's how we met, was in the restaurant business. It just caught his eye when he heard that she wanted to get out of the business, so he thought, well, maybe this is our opportunity to move back to the Midwest.
Sometimes it's my decision to buy this place, and sometimes it was hers, you know how that goes, you know, so it's an equal partnership.
Then we started making some calls, and that's how it came.
When I sold it, they asked me to stay on and help out. And I think it was a good transition because I knew the people and it helped them get to know the people.
We lived in Boca Raton, Florida. Actually, when we first went there, we lived in Boca Raton. Then we had bought a house in Delray Beach, Florida. Family was probably the number one thing that we always wanted to get back towards, closer to the Midwest. It was a huge process because we had to do several business plans. Of course, you have to convince a bank. I mean, we went to several banks, and being that we hadn't lived here for 15 years, they didn't know who we were. I mean, we could say, well, our parents banked there, but that didn't hold up so well. So it was a lot, it was a huge process. And we ended up going with an SBA loan, Small Business Association had backed our loan, and that's how it all came into play.
By now, I kind of am more the outsider, where they are more attached to the people they see every day, and I just work on a part-time basis, and they have really come into their own, I think, as the owners.
Family really was our attraction to come back, raise our kids around family, raise our kids in a more wholesome environment, better for all of us.
But now I'm here 11 years and it's working for us. I get to spend a lot of time with my kids, and that's the most important part, I guess. You just have to have good people working for you. You know, you got to be able to trust people.
We have a very good relationship with all my young girls because that's what works. I'm good with them, they're good to me, and that's the way it's always been.
The people I got working for me are good people.
Heidi's an excellent cook. She does an excellent job making soup, and I think I'm more in the helping with the dessert line and the old-fashioned farm meals, meat, potatoes kind of thing, and Mike is really getting good at it. He does a real fine job on some of the things too, on seasoning and the grill.
I attribute our success to both of us working together, hard work, working all the time, putting our heart and our all into it, putting our all into it and enjoying it.
And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
They do a real good job, yeah. I still enjoy doing the cooking, but I'm not as good as I was anymore because I'm getting old, I'm slowing down.
Running my own business has made me very happy, and I believe it has made my husband very happy as well.
I'm just kind of an old farm girl and have always been. Grew up on a farm and enjoy the country and the beauty of this area. We had a lot of 50th anniversaries or 25th anniversaries and all other occasions, birthdays and so forth. So a great way to get to know people.
You know, it's just interesting meeting all the different people and talking to them and finding out where they're from.
And the most rewarding thing is my people and the many, many compliments I get on how wonderful the food is, how wonderful an experience they had, how wonderful we are to them. That is just so rewarding. And these little old people, or even the young people that make compliments like that, I know that I made their day. That's why we're here.